In my practice as an elementary classroom teacher, I have often been asked if I believed in Ogopogo, ghosts, Sasquatch, mermaids, and other cryptids. Elvis is still alive, Michael Jackson and Tupac Shakur as well. Often, these claims are supported by photographic and video proof. And this begs the question, how can students so well versed in the skill set of modern children, proficient with texting, web surfing, Instagram, Facebook, and other social media, be so easily led to believe in such poorly supported claims? Part of the answer lies in photography's truth claim, a phrase used by Tom Gunning, which I'll discuss later, and part of the answer lies in the fact that photos tell us very little beyond what actually appears to us. We bring so much to the meaning of photographs. Now more than ever, the endlessly reproduced photograph is a simulacrum that has no referent in reality, but instead may mask that there is no reality to which it refers. And this situation is a strong argument for teaching media literacy in the classroom. As Neil Anderson points out in his article, Making a Case for Literacy in the Classroom, a growing body of research finds support for the idea that young people, while sometimes fluent in technologies used in and out of the classroom, often struggle to decipher media messages. This means students are immersed in a digital world they aren't able to analyze critically. This means we have brought the students to learn about the world from the very resource that provides them with so many imaginary truths. In What's the Point of an Index, or Faking Photographs, Tom Gunning discusses the photographic truth claim, our very powerful belief that a photograph accurately depicts reality to some degree. Essentially, this claim rests on the dual nature of the photograph as a sign. It both resembles the subject it depicts, it is iconic, and it is casually tied to its subject, it is indexical. Because the light bounces off the subject through the camera lens, hits the film or sensor, then is converted to an image in silver halide on cellulose or a series of numbers that can be decoded. The use of photographs as evidence and proof in the legal system, for example, is supported by many complex safeguards and protocols, and our belief in the truth of a photograph presupposes that it has not been altered so that it no longer resembles the thing it refers to. Likewise, Susan Sontag notes, a photograph passes for incontrovertible proof that a given thing happened. The picture may distort, but there is always a presumption that something exists or did exist, which is like what's in the picture. Roland Barthes notes in Camera Lucida that the evidential power of the photograph is so strong that it causes an arrest of interpretation, and so teaches nothing beyond what the photograph represents. When Terence Simon asked permission to photograph in Disney World, she received this rejection.
Especially during these violent times, I personally believe that the magical spell cast upon guests who visit our theme parks is particularly important to protect and helps to provide them with an important fantasy they can escape to. Photography threatens fantasy. They didn't want to let my camera in because it confronts constructed realities, myths, and beliefs, and provides what appears to be evidence of a truth.
And yet, we have supporting photographic evidence for the existence of mermaids, Ogopogo, the Yeti, and Loch Ness Monster, just off Cable Bay near Nanaimo. If there is such a strong tie between the photographic image and reality, how do photographs edit the truth? Well, here is a partial list of things a photographer can do while taking the photograph, never mind after the photo is taken. Cropping, focus and depth of field, point of view and camera angle, focal length, lighting. Try this with your students. Give them cropped photos and have them fill in what's been cut out. Give them the photo and have them draw it from a different perspective. Have students take photos of a scene, then crop them to distort the viewer's understanding of what's going on. And remember that the simple act of pointing the camera at a subject can have a huge effect on what's going on. As Roland Barthes puts it, once I feel myself observed by the lens, everything changes. I constitute myself in the process of posing. I instantaneously make another body for myself, transform myself in advance into an image. As we know, there are also endless combinations of adjustments that can be made after the photo is taken in the darkroom or with Photoshop or on Instagram. This well-known video of the digital transformation of a model by globaldemocracy.com takes us to the heart of our question, how does photography lie? And after all, this kind of subterfuge, dependent on photography's truth claim for its effects, is very high on our list of reasons for teaching media literacy. Beyond this, we can distort the meaning of a photograph simply by changing the viewing context. This is what happened with the photos in Edward Steichen's multi-artist exhibit, The Family of Man, first exhibited in 1955. Photos were often grouped together according to thematic or structural similarities. But this arrangement also tended to erase the differences, the specificity of place, so important in understanding different peoples. Montage is a way of putting different photographs together so that they create a more or less realistic scene. Now we're all familiar with photoshopping different images together. But this montage approach to photography has been going on for years. We might be amazed at how many famous photos have been spliced together. Try this with your students. Show them a collection of famous photos, some montaged, some not. Have them guess which ones are manipulated and which ones are not. And if you're really good at montage, your work will look like the work of photographer Erik Johansson. It's interesting to note that Johansson talks about achieving a realistic result in his work. This underlines the fact that realism is very different from reality.
Ansel Adams said, and I'm going to disagree with him, you don't take a photograph, you make it. In my view, it's not the photographer who makes the photo, it's you. We bring to each image our own values, our own belief systems, and as a result of that, the image resonates with us.
We've discussed how the truth claim of photography is external to the photograph. Our trust in the truth of the photograph rests, according to Tom Gunning, on our knowledge of the photographic process. That something was there similar to and causally related to what appears on the photograph. Tom Gunning relates the scene from an 1859 play called The Octoroon to illustrate how we bring our faith in photographic truth with us. Scudder, the play's Yankee photographic operator, discovers that an act of murder has been recorded by a camera. He offers the photograph of the actual act of murder, showing the true culprit as evidence to a lynch mob about to lynch a Native American falsely accused of the murder, declaring, "'Tis true, the apparatus can't lie." Here, Terence Simon's self-portrait shows how we are indeed interpreting what we see. And her project, The Innocents, seems to be a direct rejoinder to Gunning's faith in photography's evidentiary role in justice. The Innocents is a series of photographs of people who were wrongfully convicted, largely on the strength of poorly handled photographic evidence.
And for the men in these photographs, photography had been used to create a fantasy, contradicting its function as evidence of a truth. In these instances, it furthered the fabrication of a lie.
This very brief presentation has drawn few conclusions about our original problem, which I believe originates in a poor understanding of the truthfulness, or rather truth claim, of the photographic image. Certainly, we can conclude that students need to learn to think about the nature of the media that surrounds them. Gunning sees the attempts to fake photographs as proof that the truth claim is generally deserved. Simon seems aware also that photography can reveal too much truth, but can also be used to create a fantasy. Ruth Sandwell, talking about using historical photographs in the classroom and the fact that historical truth resides in a multiplicity of perspectives and experiences, says that rather than asking, "Is it true?" we should encourage students to ask, "What does it mean?" We should perhaps interrogate the photograph. And Gary Bazalgette provides a neat set of questions for us to give to our students. Who took this photograph and why? What sort of photograph is it? How was it produced? How do I make sense of it? Who is its intended audience? What does it say about the subject? I'm optimistic that a student with tools similar to these could have sufficient protection against photographs and other media that take advantage of an often deserved truth claim. My hope is that the cryptids and dead celebrities will have a harder time winning over my students in the future.
Everything is better, instant and full motion, all your wildest dreams unfettered. The ecstasy in your heart's like the poison in the air. Your neighborhood is burning and you really just don't care. I hope a drink of water is not what you desire, 'cause everything is on fire. Everything we build now brings us closer to the sun. Everything we build now brings us closer to the sun. I feel it on the mountains all undone. Oh, everything is whirling, nothing ever stops. Information comes in oceans, meanings packaged up in drops. Heaven's at your fingertips, it strokes you like the light. Apocalypse, just a game you play to help you through the night. I hope a drink of water is not what you desire,